Welcome back to another episode of BSing Sports. I guess I'll do the intro to Tim's show. My name is Ryan, in case you did not know that. And here with me, as always, is Tim. Even though this is his fantasy show, I guess I'll introduce us. Tim, how are you doing today? We have a question right off the bat, so make it snappy.
Oh, my fault. And to be fair, I made Billy do the intro last week too. I don't feel comfortable doing it yet, so I get to it eventually.
Hi, Ken. How are you? Tanya asks a question. She goes, I know you talking fantasy, but what would you get more hyped on? Eagles facing Commanders with Wentz if they make the 7th seed, or them playing the Cowboys? It's funny. I thought on that. In case you guys haven't noticed, I have a different background. I'm actually in Tim's house. I thought about this exact scenario on the drive up, and I would probably get more hype to see them face Wentz.
I think I would get pretty hyped if Wentz beat the Cowboys and then came to Philly and lose to Philly. I would like to see that in that order.
I mean, I would be hyped for both of the matchups, honestly. Like, it's pretty close for me, especially because, Dallas has gotten theirs. But I think this being the first time that Wentz would face the Eagles as a Commander, like, I think that would, I think that would be a little bit something different. But either way, I would be super stoked to face either one of them.
Yeah, I'd be pretty cool to see them both. But I don't think the Commanders are making it this year, unfortunately. Dang, come lay down, bud.
Ken says, hi, boys. William says, my name is Bill, fucker. No, your name is William.
It's William. Right there. It says it right there, Bill. William.
Now, how are you going to call him Bill and then say his name's William? Anyway, this is a very special episode because it's Fantasy Football Championship Week. And not only is it just Fantasy Football Championship Week, Tim and I play each other in a Fantasy Football Championship Week. So it's rivalry week here at BSing Sports. We've got a nice little video coming for you later in the week. Tim and I have something planned for that. In the meantime, we are going to start out by breaking down our matchup. Just real quick, something simple. And then we're going to go through starts and sits for each player, or each game rather, fantasy relevant players, that is. So to start out, I got the GOAT, Josh Allen. I'm taking down Timmy Tenders, by the way, because I am, in fact, taking down Timmy Tenders this week. So it's kind of obvious.
Listen, Kirk Cousins is, the last 3 weeks, is quarterback 2 behind Josh Allen. So I'm okay with Kirk Cousins.
You know what? Kirk Cousins gets ragged on and dogged on by the football community, and Kirk Cousins is actually like a pretty solid, or not running back. He's a solid quarterback. But yeah, it's Josh Allen or Kirk Cousins. Like, which one would you rather have? Tim Hawkins asks, didn't Wentz play in the first game? No, it was Heineke. He played in the first game, I believe.
No, it was Wentz. We beat them. We beat them like 31-6 or something like that.
Oh yeah, that was the 24-8 game. Okay, I remember that.
That's it.
He says, I'm not 5. Bill is also in a championship. Yet you still call him Timmy. Yeah. Good. Thank you, Allie, for sticking up for Tim in the chat there. That's true. You do call him Timmy. Anyway, on to running back.
Yeah, Billy. Stop calling me Timmy. I stop calling you Billy.
On the running back for our matchup, as you can see, I have the number 1 running back as well, Austin Eckler. So we got some heavy hitters over there on team taking down Timmy Tenders. Tim, you're Joe Mixon's a solid back, but he is a bit of a tough matchup. Buffalo's a solid defense. By the way, half my lineup plays on Monday night, so this is going to be really interesting to watch throughout the week. I have like 2 or 3 guys playing in the 1 o'clock window on Sunday.
Yeah, I got Nick Chubb and Ramon Stevenson. Ramon Stevenson had the good matchup against Miami. They haven't been good against the run. Nick Chubb. Ever since Deshaun Watson came back, he'd been nowhere, and I don't know what to do. Like I'm afraid to sit him because he is the starter on the Browns. You have to play him, but part of me wants to sit him and get a better matchup in there. But if you look at my bench, I really don't have no one else to put in there.
So we're just going to scroll through the lineup real quick to give the people watching a chance just to see our matchup, because we don't want to go too in depth, right, and take away from the show. So what we're going to do is we're just going to show them our lineups right here. And I do have some players on the bench that I'm thinking about putting in. So let me know if you guys have any suggestions for me. I got Drake London, J.K. Dobbins, and Amari Cooper sitting on the bench. But yeah, so like I said, I'm team taking down Timmy Tenders on, I guess it would be your guys' left, and Tim is killed Petrov Toski because that's who he just beat on the right. So
because he said,
yeah, he said I'm gonna. His name was he's taking you down or whatever. I remember that. But yeah, so wide receivers, we've got Diggs, Chase, and Moore versus Hill, Smith, and St. Brown. It's a good group of wide receivers. Tight end, Gerald Everett, Mark Andrews. Flexes, we've got battle of the older fat running backs and Zeke and Fournette. And then we have Alan Lazard and Alvin Kamara. And then in the super flex spot, we've got Trevor Lawrence, a.k.a. Sunshine, and Geno Smith, who's really come on. And like I said, we'll scan through the benches real quick. I've got J.K. Dobbins, I've got Drake London, and I've got Amari Cooper sitting down there as well. So, yeah, that's our matchup this week. But to get into what we wanted to talk about today, we're going to break down each and every individual matchup and tell you who we're playing, who we're not, and what our expectation is for the guys that we're playing. And we are starting out with the Thursday game.
On the Titans side, with Derrick Henry being out, no one to play. Maybe Hillard at the backup, but that's about it. But the Cowboys, you got to start Zeke. You got to start Pollard. Pollard is questionable.
I don't think Pollard plays. He didn't practice at all this week. I don't think Pollard plays. I know he's traveling with the team. I know he's labeled as questionable. But, I mean, at this point, you got to assume Pollard's going to be out, and you're absolutely firing up Zeke with confidence despite the tough matchup.
True. I thought he practiced today. My fault.
No, he has 0 log practices this week.
I know CeeDee Lamb was questionable too. Did he get any practices?
I know he practiced earlier in the week. His is probably just more maintenance.
He did get a lot of targets.
Yeah, there's no injuries like really tied to him. They're expecting him to be a full go against a very porous Titans secondary that's all kinds of banged up right now. So you see 4to5's comment on Twitch. Zeke's going to have to run the ball down the field now, I guess. Well, now. I don't know that that's in his contract anymore. I don't know if he can do that.
They got, I think Corey Clement at the backup, isn't it?
I don't know. It's some rookie. I can't remember his name.
Okay.
Let me look it up real quick because I read about it earlier. It is nope. I had it earlier. Don't know where it went.
So,
but anyway, yeah. So Zeke's a must start.
Yeah.
Assuming Pollard doesn't play. If Pollard plays, are you firing up both of them? Because Tennessee has a really tough run defense.
No, I won't be firing up Zeke, to be honest. I think Pollard get more of the passing work more than anything else. Sorry, Bang's whining up here.
That's okay. I actually agree with Tim. I'm going to take the words right out of his mouth there. I'm firing up Pollard because he's the upside play. Look, Zeke has been scoring a lot of touchdowns, but that's a very hit or miss stat. Those short yardage touchdowns could go to anybody. We got to look at the volume, the types of work that they're getting. And while Zeke's getting about 15 carries a game, he's not at the same efficiency level he was earlier in his career. So Tony Pollard is definitely the upside player. If Pollard plays, I honestly would probably sit both of them in my opinion. But if you have no better plays, I would sit Pollard just because Pollard didn't practice all week. That's a little scary to me. However, given the secondary circumstances of the Titans, I'm firing up Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb with confidence as a QB1 and a wide receiver 1 this week. I think that they both have big weeks.
Yeah, I agree with that. That was my next question. If you had Dak, would you be playing him? But you beat me to the punch.
Yeah, even though it's a Thursday game, I feel like the Cowboys are playing for something. You know, if they win out and the Eagles lose out, they could potentially grab the number one seed. So there is something on the line for the Cowboys to play for. And I think that they're just going to come out in full force. And like I said earlier, the Titans secondary is just so banged up at this point in time. Like they're nobody really. Plus, this game is meaningless for the Titans. I think that's part of the reason why Derrick Henry's sitting. It does not matter whether the Titans win or lose this game. It all comes down to Week 18 against the Jaguars next week. So, no Derrick Henry. Malik Willis getting the start again. I'm not starting a single person on the Titans roster. I'm not starting Chigo Okonkwo. I'm not starting Treylon Burks. I'm not playing Robert Woods. I'm not playing Malik Willis. I'm not playing any backup running back. Those are not the plays in my fantasy football championship game. I'm not starting anybody from the Titans.
Yeah, I like that idea. I'm not starting no one from the Titans either.
It's just not worth it. You know, it's too hit or miss. We don't know what's going on. So we're going to move on to the next game here. Game that we're probably going to like talking about. So rumor mill is that Jalen Hurts is not going to play again this week. Even if the Eagles had won last week against Dallas, Jalen Hurts still would not have played this week, was the word on the street. He would have probably gotten some reps week 18, but he was not going to play this week anyway. However, it does not sound like he's going to play anyway. Before we get into this game, we do have a listener question. What's going on, Christian Nova? Thanks for checking in. If you have not subscribed, go ahead and hit the subscribe button for us. James Cook or Slayton in the flex?
That's tough.
Slayton's not a volume guy. He doesn't look like the volume guy in the offense. Richie James does for the Giants. But James Cook, you know, he's got Singletary back there. So
it's tough. I think I might be leaning towards Slayton right there because he might get a little bit more targets as a passing receiver.
I think Indianapolis's pass defense is so tough, though. You know, you know what? I am gonna say Darius Slayton as well. I think that he has a more consistent big play ability, whereas the consistency in James Cook's usage is kind of up and down, in my opinion. I think Slayton has a little bit better of a floor. It's a little bit more sturdy. We can trust what he's going to do a little bit more. So I'm going to go with Darius Slayton, but that's a close one. That's a real good question. Real good first listener question to start it off there. So back to the Saints at the Eagles. The Eagles are 7-point home favorites. That's with Vegas assuming Gardner Minshew is the starter. Andy Dalton, Taysom Hill. You starting either one of them?
Negative.
Alvin Kamara?
Yeah, I am. The Phillies defense had been better lately, but listen, I've been saying it week in, week out. They started using Alvin Kamara to start winning games. And look, last week they used him. He got a touchdown, and they won a game 20-12.
Dude, Kamara got a touchdown. We haven't said that in a long time. There is one thing that makes me nervous about Kamara. So this is a stat that I read earlier. Last year, Alvin Kamara was on the field for 81% of the third down snaps for the Saints. This year, that number has dropped to 62%. And he has not seen more than 4 targets since week 6. Like, Alvin Kamara no longer has the pass catching, you know, upside that he used to in previous years. They're just not using him in that manner. And Dennis Allen was actually asked that question by the media, and he said that's just the game script. So to me, that doesn't sound like that's going to change anytime soon.
Well, I hope David Johnson gets hurt, and Kamara is taking all the backfield snaps now. But
yeah, and you know, who really knows what's going to happen with the Eagles, but they are a little susceptible to the run, and like you touched on, they have started now. I would fire up Alvin Kamara. I would fire him up with tempered expectations. He's no longer RB1 Alvin Kamara. He's probably like mid RB2 type, but with a touchdown, you know, somewhere in that neighborhood. But as long as he gets the 20+ carries, you know, he's going to be in that RB2 territory for me. Chris Olave was limited, so let's assume he plays. Are you firing him up this week?
No,
you're not playing Chris Olave at all?
If maybe in the flex, like if you're desperate, but if you have like Devontae Smith or let's say Michael Pittman, T. Higgins, I'm playing those guys over Chris Olave this week.
Not for sure.
I guess.
Are you playing Drake London or Chris Olave?
Oh. Desmond Riddle favorites Drake London.
Yeah,
I think I might be going Drake London on this one.
yeah. London has consistent volume ever since Desmond Ritter took over, so that's something interesting to keep in mind. But yeah, I'm probably with you there. I think at this point, Chris Olave has enough talent and enough upside to be a flex play, but I'm not firing him up in a as a wide receiver too or anything like that. Not confidently anyway. It's particularly against a tough Philadelphia secondary that plays well on outside receivers. I know CeeDee Lamb torched the Eagles last week, but that was from the slot. So let's jump to the other side of the ball. Like I said, Gardner Minshew slated to play. Are you firing him up this week?
Yeah, I wish I had Gardner Minshew over Geno Smith right now. Gardner Minshew, last week, he put up some points. I think 23 points or something like that. He surprised me.
I think 21.9.
Yeah, hits 2 picks wasn't his fault in my opinion. I don't know if you guys touched on that yesterday in your recap show, but the fumble
you watched.
I was doing something else. Hits 2 fumbles that gets both the running backs and his fault. It's let me think. I'm trying to think of the words. Inconsistency as a quarterback one. And if he's going to get this start this week, I think he'll be all right. I'm firing him up with confidence. How about that one?
I'd fire him up in a super flex league. I would not start him as a QB1. He did finish as QB5 last week. However, he did have a rushing touchdown. So that's 6 extra points added to his 21.7 point total. I would fire him up in a super flex league for sure. Maybe if you're desperate and you're just in a bad spot for quarterback and you need a streamer in a 1 QB league, you can get away with it because the Philadelphia offense is a good offense and you want as many pieces of it as you can get. But if you have a better quarterback option in a 1 quarterback league, I would turn to that option. So Miles Sanders, firing him up, yes or no?
Yeah, I think he had the bounce around game. He's running back 13 on the year. Just shy of running back 12. I think we talked about it, like 5 points. If he would have scored 12 points last week, 11 points, something like that, he would have been running back 12 this year overall. But the Saints defense is a little bit tougher than people imagine. But I still would Gardner Minshew in the backfield. They're going to run the ball, I think, and give Sanders confidence back. So I'm firing up with confidence.
Yeah, I'd play him as an RB2. Yeah, yep. I would definitely play him as an RB2. But if he's your RB1 this week, you're probably staring down the wrong end of a barrel there. Devontae Smith, AJ Brown, fire those guys up with confidence. Yep. I don't really need to talk about that too much. So we're going to get into the next game here. Cardinals at Falcons. Colt McCoy did clear concussion protocol. He is slated to start. You're not starting him. No super flex, nothing.
Nope.
I agree with that. James Conner, he's a must start at this point. Yep. I'd probably temper expectations as like a high RB2. Maybe hope he gets a touchdown or something. D-Hop. I know if you made it this far with the performance D-Hop gave you last week, then you're probably a little shook about starting him again. Tim, should I be starting D-Hop with confidence this week?
With Colt McCoy, yes. He's a little bit more accurate than Trey McSorley. And I didn't make him my other league with D-Hop, so I really can't say nothing about it. But I think I'd be starting D-Hop with confidence against that abysmal Falcons defense, definitely.
Yeah, I would start him, tempered expectations.
Yep, exactly.
Trey McBride, despite how bad the tight end landscape is, you're not starting him, right?
Nope.
Or you start Marquise Brown.
Tempered expectations at like a flex position, maybe.
Yeah, I would flex Marquise Brown as well. That's right where my head was at with that. On to the Falcons side of the football, Desmond Ritter. You're not playing him in a 1 quarterback league. You're playing him in a super flex league?
Nope.
No? Okay. Yeah, I actually agree with that. Tyler Algier. Tyler Algier has had a fantastic second half of this season. He has really, come on strong with some RB1 numbers over the last 6 weeks. So what's your expectation for Tyler Algier? Because, I have to assume we're starting him with confidence, right?
If I would have started Algier like I was going to last week, I would be in the championship in my other league. But I didn't start him.
Coulda, shoulda, woulda.
I didn't start him, and I regret it immediately. But I think I'm starting him at the RB2, maybe a flex position area. But if he's your RB1, you look at the wrong end of the barrel, like Ryan said about Sanders.
Yeah, so the last 2 weeks, Tyler Algiers finishes RB8 and RB12. He has a golden matchup against a very banged up Arizona, already terrible defense. So Drake London, we talked on him a little bit earlier. He's probably the only startable receiver for the Falcons.
Yep.
Where are you firing him up at?
Flex, not a wide receiver 2 or nothing. Get to flex.
Yeah, once again, spot on right there.
Relax.
Bears at Lions. This game is slated to be a shootout according to Vegas. As far as I know, it's the highest implied scoring game on the slate. And the Lions are the highest implied scoring team on the slate, even more so than the Chiefs. So that's an interesting fact for those of you that play DFS like I do. The Lions are implied by Vegas to score the most points this week. Bears, really two names jump off the paper: Justin Fields, David Montgomery. I mean, if you have Fields, you're starting Justin Fields. Yep. Are you starting David Montgomery as an RB1, RB2 flex? Where are we at with
RB2? I'm thinking RB2. The Lions defense really did get ran all over against the Cardinals last week, but I think they're going to tighten up against David Montgomery. Panthers. I'm sorry. Yes, Panthers. I'm sorry. I think they're going to tighten up a little bit, and they're going to worry about Justin Fields a little bit more. So I have RB2, a high end RB2, bit like a break of RB1 area.
Is Khalil Herbert in play here at all?
That's a tough one. If you're struggling for a starting running back or a flex position, I say yes. But if you're not struggling for one, I wouldn't.
I would say you'd have to be down really bad. I would have to question how you even made it to the finals if you're in the position where you have to start Khalil Herbert. That's just my personal take on that. That no offense to the Khalil Herbert owners out there. I have him in a few dynasty leagues, and I feel like that he's a solid long-term asset. However, just coming off injury, hasn't really proved a whole lot. The only real pass catcher for the Bears, Cole Kmet, tight end. Are you playing him at all this week?
Yeah, I don't see why not. The Lions aren't that good of a defense. Wait, didn't the Bears and Lions play earlier in the season?
Yeah, they already played.
And Cole Kmet had a lot. I think 33 points. Or something
yeah, he had 25.4 points and was the tight end 1. Well, that was tight end premium leagues, but he was the tight end 1. 4 catches, 74 yards, 2 touchdowns last time he played the Lions.
Yeah, I'm definitely starting. I think that about the same objective area going to be him again, I think.
Yeah, I think given the tight end landscape, you'd be, foolish not to start him. We're going to flip to the other side of the ball here. So Jamal Williams may not play this game. That's a key right there. Jamal Williams may not play. He did not practice today. He left that game early with an injury in the first half, did not come back out for the second half. Jared Goff, 1 quarterback leagues, because in Superflex you're going to play him. Starting him?
I'm starting him.
So
confidently, I think.
You heard it first. Timmy says that, Jared Goff's going to be a top 12 quarterback. I agree wholeheartedly. And he's super cheap in DFS again. I have no idea why they keep criminally underrating this guy, but I love it.
I'm taking.
But I love it. Amon-Ra St. Brown, going to fire him up every week. We're going to talk about that. Let's go to the running back picture. DeAndre Swift.
Fire him up, especially if Jamal Williams out.
See, that's where we're going to disagree. You know what? I think Justin Jackson is the play there. Let's look at some of Swift's numbers here real quick, because you're going to be surprised. So Swift has no notable volume to his game. He relies on touchdowns to score his points. So
makes sense.
Since he's come back from injury in week 8, here are his carry totals: 5, 2, 6, 5, 5, 14, 6, 8, 4. Wow. He had 4 carries in a game that Jamal Williams left before halftime.
You said Justin Jackson?
Justin Jackson. So I'll get into Justin Jackson in a minute. Now, he is getting some looks in the receiving game. He has 18 targets the last 3 games. He has 14 the 2 before that. So 32 targets in the last 5 games. He's getting some looks in the receiving game. However, he's pretty touchdown dependent. He has 1 RB1 and 2 RB2 finishes in the last since week 8 when he came back. So there's not a whole lot of floor there. I think Justin Jackson, now he did this last year too in the semifinals where he scored 2 touchdowns, ran for like 65 yards, and caught 9 passes for the Chargers. I think Justin Jackson's a solid play here.
I see your point.
Because he's going to fill that Jamal Williams role. Jamal Williams heals all the short yardage touchdowns, and the Chicago Bears defense is abysmal, especially against running backs. They're terrible. So we're going to go back to last year real quick because I remember this vaguely because I lost to it. So in the semifinals, he had 11 carries, 64 yards, 2 touchdowns, 8 catches for 98 yards. Like that's the type of ability he has. So,
that's a good take. Man, that's tough. Yeah, I saw that too.
Logan Stone, ladies and gentlemen. You can always count on him to not take it seriously. Hi, Logan. Thanks for checking in, buddy. If you're watching this stream now, go ahead, click the like button, click the share button. If you're watching it on Twitter, hit the heart, hit the retweet button. Watching it on Twitch, go ahead, follow. If you're watching on YouTube, go ahead, subscribe. Guys, that's easy support. It's free and it all takes 5 seconds, and we greatly appreciate it because I think we bring some pretty good content here. So, like I said, I might play Justin Jackson over DeAndre Swift. I think DeAndre Swift is going to disappoint a ton of people this week. That's my hot take for the week. I don't see consistent enough usage. The Lions kind of look like they're holding him back a little bit, and he's very touchdown dependent. So
now, are you starting Justin Jackson in a running back 2 slot or like a flex spot?
I would flex Justin Jackson. If I was desperate for a flex, I would flex Justin Jackson. Like Chris Genova earlier said Slayton or James Cook. I might flex Justin Jackson over both of them.
Okay. I like that.
I just think that Vegas is telling us the Lions are going to score the most points, right? And if I get Justin Jackson to fill the Jamal Williams role, we've seen him, he can take on, a workload for a game. Why not, right? So Lions, Amon-Ra St. Brown with confidence. Jameson Williams, you're not starting him at all. DJ Chark.
I'm about to ask that. I was thinking Josh Reynolds too. I'll start on DJ Chark in a flex spot.
Me too.
Pretty confidently, I think. Especially if I had to start figure it out over James Cook or Slayton, I'm taking Chark all the way. So,
yeah, Chark's got some big playability too. So here, 3 of the last 4 games, he's finished as wide receiver 23, wide receiver 9, wide receiver 83, and then wide receiver 21 last week. So he's had 6, 7, 2, and 5 targets, and he's averaged, I think, that comes out to about 20 yards a catch the last 4 games. So, he has the big playability. I'm going to be firing him up in DFS this week for sure because there's a ton of upside there. Yeah, I think I would flex DJ Chark, especially in deeper leagues. Leagues that are set up like ours are, where it's 3 wide receivers, 2 flex. I would certainly flex Chark there.
Yeah.
And you said Josh Reynolds. Are you starting Josh Reynolds at all?
If it's over James Cook or Slayton, yeah, but I would start Chark over Josh Reynolds.
I'm probably putting Reynolds behind Cook and Slayton. It's just not consistent enough for me, and that's as a Josh Reynolds owner. But the Lions' offense seems to, I know they're projected again to score the most points, but seems to be funneled through 2 or 3 avenues. I'm not starting Shane Zylstra this week just because he had 3 touchdowns last week either. That's not going to happen. That to me, that's a complete outlier. I'll sleep more than happily that night if Zane Zylstra has another 3 touchdowns and he's not in my lineup because I'll be like, whatever. I never even heard of this guy anyway. So Broncos and Chiefs. You and I agree that there is one Bronco we are starting.
Judy. Yep.
Yeah. Jerry Judy is actually a must start wide receiver 2 at this point. He has really come on strong in the last few weeks. Even with Brett Rypien, he had 20 points, I think, that week. So,
yep.
Courtland Sutton coming back didn't seem to slow him down at all. I might, and might start Russell Wilson in a Superflex league.
He's so scary, man. He can have a good game. Or let me rephrase that. He can have a 10-point game with 1 interception, or have a negative 5-point game with 5 interceptions. But I'm not starting Russell Wilson if I don't have to.
Yeah, if I don't need to, I won't. But in a Superflex league, if I'm looking for a second quarterback, I against a vulnerable pass defense like the Chiefs, I would start him. What about Latavius Murray?
He did have a good game against the Chiefs a couple weeks ago, so I see where you're coming from. And Latavius Murray, he also had a good game against the Chiefs a couple weeks ago. I see where you're coming from that, but I don't think I'm starting Latavius Murray. Ben, come on, boy. It's okay.
I'd probably flex Latavius Murray, but if I have to start him in a running back slot, again, I'm probably, on the wrong side of the projections there. That's my take on it. I think the matchup's good enough. I think that he gets at least enough volume. Last week is a little bit of an outlier because they were getting blown out off the rip. Russell Wilson just kept throwing interceptions. So, but going to the Chiefs side of the ball, I'm not going to ask about Mahomes or Kelsey. They're very obviously number one at their position respectively. So you're firing them up with confidence. Pacheco, McKinnon, both, neither. What are we doing with this backfield?
I mean, they both were abysmal last week. But I'm starting both now. Maybe Pacheco gets most of the carries, but McKinnon gets most of the targets. It's a tough one. If I had to start one at a flex position, then give me McKinnon over Pacheco because the receptions and touchdown base area. Yeah, give me McKinnon.
This is going to sound weird. I would not in the same lineup. I would start McKinnon as an RB2, and I would flex Pacheco. I think you touched on it perfectly. McKinnon has all the pass catching upside, and he's got 6 touchdowns in the last 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So he's getting used. 2 of the last 3 weeks, he was RB1. So the usage is there. That's how I would play that. Juju Smith-Schuster, where are you starting him at?
Wide receiver 2.
Yeah, I think at this point, it's very obvious that he's the favorite wide out there. Are you starting any of the other wideouts in the Kansas City wideout?
No.
Yeah, no. Kadarius Toney's a no. Hardman's a no. They're all no's. Dolphins at Pats. Tua Tagovailoa is in concussion protocol, and they are running with Teddy Bridgewater for Week 17.
No, I'm not starting him.
If you're not starting him, not even in a Superflex league?
It's tough. Teddy Bridgewater could, with that offense, be something decent, but I don't think I would.
In his 2 starts earlier in the year, he was QB 24 and QB 7.
Like I said, it's tough. I don't think I would though. I stick with my consistent guy, knowing that I'm gonna get the same points out of him, basically.
If I was in a Superflex league, I'd look at Superflexing Teddy Bridgewater. I would not start him in a 1 quarterback league, though. I think that there are better options out there. Jeff Wilson Jr., Raheem Mostert seem to be locked in timeshare. What are we doing with them?
Man, that's tough too. Jeff Wilson got the goal line carries last week against the Packers.
For what it's worth, Mostert has outsnapped Jeff Wilson significantly since he came back in Week 13.
I'm not starting either of them. The Patriots have a good defense. If I don't have to start one, I won't. But if I had to, I'll flex them more than anything else.
Yeah, I would probably
Mozart.
I'd probably flex Mostert if I had to pick one of the 2, but I'd rather just not play either of them. Like you said, the Patriots' run defense is good. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, we're firing them up. You tempering expectations for Hill at all or Waddle?
Nah, like you said, Teddy Bridgewater had a quarterback 7. He knows what to do with his good guys. You just have to attack the game plan, and hopefully the game plan works out for them.
Yeah, and Hill and Waddle are guys that do a lot of their damage with the ball already in their hand. Get it out to them quickly. They have lots of
Speed.
upside with ball in hand. I mean, we saw Jalen Waddle take a crossing route that went 84 yards to the house. So
Yep.
Colts and Giants. Colts, Nick Foles. I'm not starting him in a super flex league either. Like a 2 QB league, I don't care. He's sitting the bench.
Yep.
Zach Moss, Deion Jackson, not after
No.
last week. What are we doing with? Okay, only player that we can talk about, Michael Pittman. What are we doing with him?
Wide receiver 2, but temper your expectations on him.
I'm going even lower than that. I'm picking wide receiver 3 flex area. Like I'm going way low on these expectations. I just that offense is in disarray. The team looks like they gave up. They can't block. Nick Foles was sacked 6 times, I think, last week. It's just a mess in Indianapolis. The Giants receivers came on pretty good last week. The Minnesota Vikings do have like an all-time worst pass defense, though. So next one's a lot. Daniel Jones. What are you doing with Daniel Jones?
Superflex, I'm starting him.
Not starting him in a 1 QB league?
No.
You know he's QB 10 on the season?
The running upside.
Yeah, and he gets the Indianapolis defense that's awful against quarterbacks.
But Indianapolis defense also held Justin Herbert to 5 points.
That's true.
So, no, I'm going to Superflex, yes, 1 quarterback league now.
Sorry about that. We have puppies. Saquon Barkley, got to be fired up with confidence. Yep. You didn't come to this show to listen to where we should start Saquon Barkley. Which wide receiver would you play? Richie James, Isaiah Hodgins, Darius Slayton, as we talked about?
Isaiah Hodgins, man. It looked like he'd gained most of the targets. Apparently, he's doing really well there. I forgot the other name already. Ricky James. He's looking pretty well too. I would flex Ricky James, to be honest, if I had to.
So let's look over Richie James's stats the last few weeks, because I feel like that this is gonna surprise a lot of people. Him and Stephon Diggs over the last 6 weeks are separated by half a fantasy point.
Wow. They've been haven't been too good the last couple of weeks.
Diggs has averaged 11 points the last 4 weeks. We'll get into Diggs when we get to the Monday night game. But Richie James, man, since week 12, 6 targets, 3 targets, 9 targets, 5 targets, 12 targets last week. So the volume's getting there. I would flex either Richie James or Isaiah Hodgins. I would flex both of them. I would flex Slayton if you have to, like what we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Daniel Bellinger, tight end. You playing him?
No.
Yeah, I'm probably not either. I like Daniel Bellinger as a talent, as a deep stash dynasty. I don't like him in my championship lineup. Panthers at Bucks. Sam Darnold.
I would.
I'd start him in a Superflex league. Absolutely.
Yep. Absolutely.
Buccaneers pass defense has not been great this season. So wide receivers, quarterbacks, they have a good matchup here. Foreman and Hubbard.
They had a great game last week.
Yeah, well, they both had crap games the week before that. So
it's so hard.
I'll tell you what, I'm not playing either one of them. If I have anything just like easily better, the Bucks run defense has always been good. That's the one consistent with them. So
I was leaning towards not playing them too.
Yeah. If I had to pick one of the two, I'd probably pick Foreman, although I would not feel great about it.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
DJ Moore. What are we doing with DJ? I mean, I know what I'm doing with DJ Moore as a DJ Moore owner. What are you doing with DJ Moore?
I'm playing him. Like you said, the Buccaneers corners and linebackers aren't that good. I think DJ Moore will probably have the wide receiver 2 break wide receiver 1 late game.
I like to hear that, Tim. I know that
I
pains
know
you a
I'm
little
playing
bit to
him.
say
I
that.
know.
I know that pains you a little bit to say that, considering DJ Moore's in my lineup. No, he's actually come on real strong. Since Sam Darnold's been back, we talked about that a lot. We have a listener question, Mike Altawale, I believe that is. I am terrible with names. I apologize. Thanks for checking in, Mike. If you've not done so already, go ahead and subscribe on YouTube. We're here every Wednesday talking about fantasy football. Adams or A.J. Brown, Connor or Jacobs? Okay, so this was definitely a guy that's affected by the Las Vegas quarterback change. A.J. Brown here, all the way for me in that wide receiver slot. I'm curious as to what your other wide receiver slot is. Since we're on the topic already, I would still probably play Davante Adams as a wide receiver 2 or a flex. But if you just got like Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, then obviously not. No, I wouldn't do that. But if you have a normal contending lineup, I'd probably play Adams as like a wide receiver 2 or a flex. He should still see the targets. His other receivers, Tyreek. Yeah, so I'm going Tyreek and A.J. Brown here for sure.
I agree with that.
I'm going James Conner here. James Conner has outscored Christian McCaffrey since Christian McCaffrey has gone to San Francisco. Since he went to San Francisco, Christian McCaffrey is running back 3 on the season, and James Conner has outscored him by a point in that same time span. James Conner is a must start at this point. Again, same deal with Jacobs. I do expect them to be a little bit run heavy. But against San Francisco, hell no, I'm not taking that chance. So I'm going James Conner here. And like I said, I don't know who you have flexing, but I would consider flexing Davante Adams. Connor, ETN, Jacobs, Barkley. Yeah, Jacobs is out. ETN's probably the guy you're flexing there, I'm assuming. Yeah, that's the play I would make. Yeah, I'm out on all Vegas shares if I don't need to start them, they're not. And clearly you don't need to start them. So that's where I'm going. You can sit them and be confident about it because 1, you have viable replacements, and 2, it's just I'm not. Are you really going to rely on Jared Stidham-led offenses to win you your fantasy championship? No.
I mean, his last name sounds like Sitham, so I'm going to Sitham.
Jared Sitham, I love that. We're gonna have to coin that, man. Especially if Davante Adams and Josh Jacobs put up duds again, like they did this past week. I'm going Jared Sitham. I love it. That was probably the most clever thing you've ever said.
All right, now I want to go that far.
Panthers and Bucks. So, any other wide receivers on the Panthers you're willing to start besides DJ Moore? Not Terrace Marshall. Yeah, no, neither am I. Tight end, good. Tommy Tremble, no, not starting him either. Tom Brady, what are we doing with Tom Brady?
Yeah, you gotta play him. I'm playing him in a 1 quarterback league if I had to. I'm playing him in a super flex, obviously. The main question is, who do I start Leonard Fournette over Rashaad White? I mean, that's hard. Leonard Fournette did really good last week. 22 carries, 76 yards, and a touchdown. No touchdown, I'm sorry. And caught 6 passes for 76 yards.
Who you talking
about? Leonard Fournette right now.
Yeah, 9 catches for 90 yards last week.
Yep. Are you starting him or Rashaad White?
Oh, I'm starting Fournette easily. I think Rashaad White needs to be relegated to the bench at this point. I don't think that there's any way that you can play him with any sort of confidence. I don't even care what the matchup is. The Bucs clearly want Leonard Fournette out there. I think that has a lot to do with the fact he's just straight up a better pass blocker. But
yep. I agree with that. Mike Evans, Godwin.
I'm starting Godwin as a wide receiver 2 with wide receiver 1 upside because he does get the volume. He is on pace to break his career high in targets this year at 127. He's at 126 right now. He's on pace to break his career record for yards. He's just not on pace to break his career record for touchdowns. So he is getting used in a high volume sort of way, but the touchdown production is just not there. So I'm definitely firing him up, wide receiver 2. And if he scores, then you should be just fine. At this point, I think we got to cut Mike Evans, not cut Mike Evans, but I think we have to cut ties with the fact that we need to start Mike Evans because we don't.
Yep, I
Mike
agree with
Evans
that.
is just not produced. He hasn't scored a touchdown since week 4, and that was his big thing. He had 12 and 13 touchdowns the previous 2 years with Tom Brady. He was good getting in the red zone when Jameis Winston was there. It's just not there for him anymore. Like, we keep holding out hope, this is the breakout game. This is the breakout game. This is the breakout game. You probably aren't in your fantasy championship because of Mike Evans.
Yep,
You
I
could
agree with that.
probably turn to somebody else.
I like that. Another wide receiver. I can't.
Julio?
No, not Julio. The other one.
Oh, Russell Gage.
Yeah, he's been doing pretty decent the last couple weeks.
Yeah, but
I'm not starting him.
no, the offense is bad. Like, if it was a good high flying Tampa offense, I'd be like, yeah, sure, let me get every piece I can to it. But they're not a good offense. Chris Godwin's starting because of volume. Leonard Fournette's starting because of volume. None of these guys really have any upside for touchdowns. So, as far as Tom Brady goes, I'm playing him in a super flex league, in a 1 quarterback league.
Yep.
I'm only playing him if he's my best available option.
I like it.
Browns at Commanders. I'll let you hammer away with who we starting for the Browns. By the way, Carson Wentz is starting for the Commanders.
One quarter. I got them starting to Deshaun Watson in both leagues, single quarterback and double quarterback, super flex leagues. Nick Chubb, man. I got the guy temper my expectations on him, but you have to start him in my opinion, especially going into this week against the Washington defense, who is really good. And Amari Cooper, Donovan Peoples-Jones. I think I'm starting Donovan Peoples-Jones over Amari Cooper right now because he'd be getting the targets than Amari Cooper, other than last week. Let me phrase that. Other than last week, because that last week game was really cold. They ran the ball more than throw. Who are you starting for the Browns?
Well, first, I see why you would say that. You would start Donovan Peoples-Jones over Amari Cooper. I disagree because Cooper has out-targeted him since Deshaun Watson has taken over in every game except for one. But I'm not starting either of them if I don't have to. And I can say that confidently. I'm in a league, the championship against you. It's 3 wide receiver, 2 flex. It's a pretty deep league. I got Amari Cooper sitting on my bench. One, Amari Cooper's terrible on the road historically and this year. 2, Deshaun Watson doesn't look right. 3, the offense isn't good because Deshaun Watson doesn't look right, so there's no touchdown upside for any of these guys. And that rolls into the only person I'm playing is Nick Chubb, but I'm playing Nick Chubb as a back-end RB2. He gets the volume. He gets his last couple of weeks. He's got 20 carries for 90-plus yards, but no touchdowns. So he's ending up with 8.9 and 9.4 fantasy points. Those are great real-life games, 20 carries for 90-plus yards. That's pretty awesome in real life. Doesn't do anything for us fantasy managers, and quite frankly, there's no touchdown upside there. The offense just isn't good. So I'm starting Chubb, but as an RB2, and he's the only person I'm starting. I can't trust Njoku. Obviously, I just don't trust Cooper. I don't trust Donovan Peoples-Jones. And I'm starting Deshaun Watson in a super flex league if I have to.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Carson Wentz, playing him?
I mean, before he got injured, he would, I think, quarterback 12 in a year or something like that. He was throwing the ball a lot. I think I'm starting him in both. If I don't have to play him in 1 quarterback league, I won't, but in the super flex, I will.
That's where I'm at with that. Antonio Gibson has a sprain. Ron Rivera declined to comment which body part or how serious, but he has a sprain and left last week's game early. Brian Robinson's got to be fired up here, mid RB2. Yep. I mean, he was already getting the bulk of the carries anyway. Now he's going to steal Gibson's receiving work too. The real thing to figure out in this offense is which receivers are we going to start and where are we starting them? McLaurin, Dotson, Samuel. How are you playing this, Tim?
McLaurin, I'm going to put as a low end wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 area, and Dotson into a flex section. I'm not starting Samuel.
I'm actually going to flip-flop those two. I think, McLaurin and Dotson both had pretty good games last week, But early on in the season, you saw Dotson was getting all the red zone targets with Carson Wentz at quarterback. I think this is probably the best thing for Jahan Dotson owners is this quarterback change to Carson Wentz. Not to say Warren will be valueless and he'll be useless. He's a solid flex play, but I would almost start Jahan Dotson in that wide receiver. This is a match made in heaven for him. But I would, if you have a great team, you can probably get away with flexing both of these players.
Yep, I agree with that.
Jags at Texans. Trevor Lawrence, yes, got it. 1 quarterback leagues and Superflex. Trevor Lawrence needs to be playing. I know Houston is notably tougher on quarterbacks, but that leads into the fact that it's because everybody runs on them. They are dead last against running backs for fantasy points allowed. So Travis Etienne, I'm firing him up. RB2 with RB1 upside here for sure. Jaguars pass catchers.
I want you to go because the one I want to hear you say, and I'm not too sure about it.
Evan Ingram.
I like it.
Evan Ingram is a must start.
Yes.
I am starting Evan Ingram over everybody that's not named Kelsey or Kittle.
Yeah, I like that.
Every other player. Yes, that includes Mark Andrews. At this point, Mark Andrews is not a must start. He's only starting because the rest of the tight end landscape looks pretty bad.
Yeah, I like that. What about Zay Jones? Christian Kirk.
Christian Kirk, I'm firing up wide receiver 2 area. Flexing him if I have a deep enough roster, but I would play him. Zay Jones, I'd flex him if I had to, but it's not looking great there.
He had wide receiver 22 on the year, Zay Jones.
Yeah, but a lot of that comes in chunks. It's those big games that he's had. There's no real consistency there. So I'm probably going to go flex play for Jones. I'm going wide receiver 2 for Kirk.
Okay, I like that. I'm not playing. I don't think I'm going to play Zay Jones this week against you, so I'm not going to play him. But I like Christian Kirk in as wide receiver 2 area. On the Texas side, there's no one to start. Maybe Nico Collins if he plays in a flex spot. Let me see who else. Damian Pierce is out. David Mills not good. Nico Collins and another wide receiver name I can't think of.
Talking about the Texans wide receivers?
Yeah.
I'm not starting any of them. They're not a single player from the Texans I'd play. Superflex, deep leagues, I'm skipping the whole team.
Okay, I like it.
They're a bad team. That's just what they are.
I like it.
Brandon Cooks, maybe if you are so desperate for a flex, but I mean, you got to the championship without Brandon Cooks and doing you anything. Like, pick somebody else. 49ers at Raiders. We touched on the Raiders already. Low end wide receiver 2 flex play for Adams. Low end RB2 flex play for Jacobs because they have produced this year. I'd actually probably just leave them both in the flex area because the Niners defense is no joke anyway.
Yeah. On the Niners side, Brock Purdy, are you playing him?
Super flex, yeah.
So would I. Chris McCaffrey, the must start. Brandon Ayuk. Kittle, the must start. What about Brandon Ayuk, Debo?
Debo's out.
That's what I thought.
Ayuk's a flex for me, but he's risky, man, because Kittle seems to be getting all the targets there anyway.
I'm so happy
he has a little bit of big playability. Ayuk does, but he's just not consistent enough, not getting the consistent volume for me to push him above that. So I think Ayuk's a solid flex play.
I agree with that.
Jets, Seahawks.
I'm not starting no one from the Jets.
You're not starting Mike White, Garrett Wilson?
Maybe Garrett Wilson in the flex spot. But the running backs, I got to fade Knight right now. He's been doing terrible the last couple of weeks. Carter hasn't been doing too well. Man. maybe if I'm desperate to start Mike White in a super flex league, like super desperate. On the flip side, yeah, I think I might be starting Garrett Wilson in a flex spot, maybe wide receiver 3 area.
Yeah, I'm starting Garrett Wilson and Mike White. Mike White in Superflex. I'm starting Garrett Wilson as an wide receiver 2. I'm probably going to start Tyler Conklin at tight end too, just because the Seahawks are habitually awful against tight ends, and they've been the worst team for at least 3 years now at tight ends. So I'm starting Tyler Conklin. That says more about the tight end landscape than anything else. Dan Lebo says, I'm super desperate. Man, aren't we all? What's your dilemma, Lebo? Go ahead and hit us with it. I know we talked about it a little bit earlier, but go ahead and hit us with it. In the meantime, Seahawks, obviously you're starting Geno and Superflex.
Yeah, DK Metcalf, definitely. Kenneth Walker, the third. You starting him?
RB2. Yeah, I'd play him.
Yeah, I agree with that. Tyler Lockett practiced today.
Yeah. Did Tyler Lockett practice today? I was going to ask about that.
Yeah, I think he was limited. Let me double check on that real quick.
Yeah, I would play Tyler Lockett if he plays too. If he doesn't, then obviously I don't. I'm not playing Marquise Goodwin if Tyler Lockett doesn't play, though. He's just not Tyler Lockett.
He actually practiced full today.
Okay, so that's a good sign there for sure. I'm firing up Tyler Lockett then.
Lebo said Hurts is out and for me in both championships.
This is why I don't draft Eagles players. Not because they habitually get hurt or anything, but because now you're doubly sad that your favorite team's quarterback is hurt and your fantasy quarterback is hurt.
I mean, I don't hate Mike White, man, or Purdy. If there was a better option on your waiver wire, like maybe Carson Wentz or like Jared Goff. If he's
you starting Carson Wentz over Mike White?
I think, yeah. I think I might be, yeah. I'm not a big fan of Mike White. He had 2 good weeks. Yes, I'm not saying he didn't, but I like Carson Wentz better. Nah. I don't know what else to say.
I think it's close. I'd probably go Mike White. I'd probably go Mike White there, and then I like Purdy too. Yeah, the only issue is if the 49ers run up the score so much, they stop throwing the ball. But that's the only downside to that. Vikings at the Packers.
Cousins to start. Justin Jefferson to start.
Yeah. Justin Jefferson. Dalvin Cook's a start. You didn't come here for us to tell you about those guys. KJ Osborne.
I'm not starting KJ Osborne. Adam Thielen, I'm not starting either. It looked like Justin Jefferson taking bulk and Dalvin Cook really. What else?
Where are we at?
I said I'm not KJ Osborne, I'm not starting. Are you starting Adam Thielen?
No. Adam Thielen's definitely a must sit at this point. Especially if you got a championship roster, you definitely did not get there for him any help for Adam Thielen. TJ Hawkinson's a must start.
Yep.
He's probably another tight end that I'd put over Evan Ingram. So Evan Ingram's my tight end 4.
Okay, I like
Hawkinson, Kittle, and Kelsey are above him. On the Packers side of the football, Aaron Jones is hurt. Something to monitor there. If he does not play, A.J. Dillon's got to be fired up.
Yep.
Christian Watson might not play. He's day-to-day. If he does, he's a must start. And I would even say Allen Lazard's a must flex if Watson plays. And if Watson doesn't play, I'm starting Lazard as a wide receiver 2.
Yeah, I would start him too, and I'm playing against you, and I know you have him. But that's a different story. Romeo Dobbs.
If Watson's out, I'd flex him. If Watson's in, no.
I like it. That's it. Aaron Rodgers, Superflex.
In Superflex, yes, because the matchup's great, but
Yep.
I'm not starting them in one quarterback leagues. Rams at Chargers. On paper, you'd say nobody from the Rams. However, Cam Akers has a golden matchup. The Chargers are the second worst team against running backs.
I mean, I might start Baker in the Superflex if I'm desperate enough. Cam Akers definitely must start. He's been really good the last couple of weeks, but anyone else on the Rams, I'm not starting really. On the Chargers, Mike White, Mike Williams, Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler. They're all must starts here.
Who's the must start? Tyler Higbee? Yes, correct.
Tyler Higbee, yeah. I was talking about the Chargers.
Higbee and Akers are must starts for me. Akers has a golden matchup. They're finally giving him the football. Tyler Higbee is the only viable pass catching option in the Rams offense. Is Justin Herbert a must start? He's put up 13 points combined the last 2 weeks.
Against the Rams, I'm starting him absolutely in Superflex. I'm starting him no matter what. In a single quarterback or Superflex, I'm starting him no matter what. Yeah, he had a great weeks, but he's going to turn it around, I think. He's going to prove to everyone in the world that he is a top 5 quarterback, and I still think he is a top 5 quarterback. I'm in a rough spot.
Caden's a Colts fan. Can't imagine what team he roots for. Thanks for checking in, Caden. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. We're here every Wednesday talking fantasy football. I'm in a rough spot. Lost Tua and Henry for my chip matchup at QB. Do I start Mac or Danny Dimes at running back? Haskins or Murray? Tight end, Conklin, Waller, or Schultz? I know exactly which 3 I'm starting. Who are you starting, Tim?
I'm starting Danny Dimes over Mac. I'm starting Murray.
He's got the rushing upside. You said who?
I'm starting Murray over Haskins.
Yep, that's who I'm starting. Golden matchup, and he gets the volume.
And Schultz over Conklin and Waller.
I'm starting Conklin.
I like it.
Again, Seattle is just habitually awful against tight ends, and with Mike White back, I do expect that offense to be at least somewhat proficient and competent. So we got the quarterback and the running back on the same page. Danny Dimes, he has another good matchup too against a team that does give up some points to quarterbacks, and he's got the rushing upside. Running back, I'm not trusting Haskins. We don't know anything about what he can do. At least we know Latavius Murray's getting volume against a defense that is susceptible to giving up points to running backs. He picked Schultz. I could see why. However, Thursday game, if it was a Sunday game for the Cowboys, I might say so. However, they are coming off a short week, so I'm going to pump the brakes on that, and I'm going to move to Conklin. So thanks for the question, Caden. What's up, Z Money? Long time no see. For me, anyway. What game are we on? Oh, the Chargers? I'm starting Herbert in single and Superflex. I'm starting, obviously, Austin Eckler. Keenan Allen's a must start. We're finally seeing the volume. Mike Williams, I'm starting. You're going to have your good weeks. You're going to have your bad weeks. Josh Palmer's a no-go for me. And
yeah, I agree with that.
Unfortunately, I have Gerald Everett on my roster too. I wouldn't start him if there was a better option. Unfortunately, the only other tight end I have is Mike Gesicki, and he does not qualify as a better option. So, Caden says Schultz has been rough the last 2 weeks. Yeah, I agree. That's part of the reason why I would start Conklin too. But I personally would go. I like the matchup. I'm starting any tight end I can against the Seahawks.
I lost my playoff game. Oh, man.
I lost my playoff game, but I'm the winner consolation bracket. What is that? That's called third place, man. You know what that gets you? Good old pat on the back. At least in my leagues it does. I don't know what other commissioners do. I always offer a pat on the back for third place, guys.
All right, what's the next game?
Sunday night game. We're almost done with this. Steelers at Ravens. If I'm desperate in Superflex, I'm starting Kenny Pickett.
Yep. Desperate. Deontay Johnson, desperate.
Yeah, Deontay Johnson's I'm starting George Pickens before I start Deontay Johnson.
Yep.
Both
I agree with
are
that.
desperate flex plays in my opinion.
I agree with that. Najee Harris.
Flex.
I've seen him.
Yeah, I could see it too. I mean, it's just been so inconsistent this year. The offensive line, his foot injury, his inefficiencies, the quarterback changes, just general offensive inefficiencies as a whole. I think the only really should start for sure is Pat Fryermuth here.
Yep. I love Big Pat.
Yeah. Yeah. The Muth, baby. The Muth.
On the Ravens side, Tyler Huntley. You starting him?
In super flex if I have to. I'm definitely not starting him. I can't believe that I know multiple people in my leagues, and I'm not going to mention names, that think Tyler Huntley is a good quarterback.
Listen,
They think that he deserves a chance to compete to start somewhere. I'm like, based on what?
Based off of last year, really, I think. Because he didn't do terrible last year, but this year he'd been terrible.
Yeah, I mean,
oh, my back is killing me.
Caden, the Colts fan says lineup this week: Danny Dimes, Chubb, Cook, Hopkins, CD, Conklin, Murray.
I like it.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Other than
yeah, Trace.
I'm hoping it's Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, I'm hoping that's I would assume it's Dalvin. I don't think James Cook got you to your fantasy championship. But yeah,
Dobbins.
He's a flex play. He's a touchdown dependent flex play because even on his best games, he doesn't really get a ton of volume, 15 carries at most. He just has to be otherworldly efficient, to hit those big numbers, but he doesn't get a ton of carries. So he's a flex play for me. Mark Andrews, I guess you're starting him because you drafted him to start, but he has averaged 7 points a game since week 8. So in 8 games, he's averaged 7 points a game. That's terrible. That's not even okay. That's just bad.
Yeah, I know, man. I'm in a tough decision because I want to start Mark Andrews, but I don't want to start him because he's been so bad lately.
Yeah, if you don't have it, speaking directly to you, if you don't have anything better, then you got to start him. But hopefully, you just got to hope and pray Lamar comes back so he can at least be somewhat serviceable.
Yep.
Caden says playing Mahomes, Hill, Justin Jefferson, CMC, ETN, Ingram, and Kamara for $500. Anything can happen, my man. Justin Jefferson rolls his ankle or something, knock on wood. Anything can happen. But that looks like I'm assuming you're on the wrong end of projections there. If you want to know the roster that was put together, I can tell you absolutely, man. We're always interested in that kind of stuff, interested in your draft strategy and whatnot. While you're pulling that up, though, we're done with this game, right? Mark Andrews, start him because you have to, kind of. Monday night game, Bills at Bengals. Start everybody. Start everybody in their mom.
Everyone,
Basically, Singletary and Cook are flex plays for desperate people. I would start Singletary before I start Cook.
Yep, I agree with that.
Diggs, I know it's been rough. 11 points average the last 4 weeks. Firing him up. Wide receiver 1, baby. It's go time. They're playing for a number 1 seed. It's going to be a high-scoring game. Give it to me. Starting Gabe Davis as a flex. Got a lot of upside there. Dawson Knox, I mean, sure, why not? Tight end's been abysmal this year. Sure, go for it.
Knox or Andrews?
Andrews. I think he's more upside. Bengals, everybody and their mom. Burrow, yes. Mixon, yes.
Yep.
With tempered expectations, the Bills are pretty good against running backs. I'd say mid to high RB2 type area. Wide receivers, Chase, Higgins, yes. Boyd's got to sit at this point.
Yep.
And it seems like any tight end that plays for the Bengals is sneaky because Wilcox the last 2 weeks has put up double-digit points.
Joe Burrow don't care who you are. You're gonna throw the ball to you if you're open.
Yeah, I'm starting any share, almost any share of this game I have. I'm starting.
Yep.
Caden the Colts fans, so the manager traded Saquon for Hill, Mahomes, and CMC week 1, and our league manager let it go through after our entire league said no. He traded. Wow.
What?
Sounds like you need to come on over to Dynasty League next year, which is, run by BSing Network. Wow, that's a bad trade. Jeez.
Super bad, man.
That's terrible. See, stuff like that just does not make leagues fun, man. Like, first off, how did the two managers come to a conclusion that was a fair trade? Like, the guy getting Saquon is either a hardcore Giants fan that doesn't know squat about fantasy or just doesn't care.
Yeah. Basically.
And then the fact that the commission let it go through is, that's terrible.
So, as the commissioner, would you have let that happen?
No. And then I probably would have asked the dude trading. I probably would have had a conversation with the dude trading for Saquon. Like, hey, man, like, are you okay? Like, do you understand how fantasy football works type stuff? Yeah. And then if I saw another similar trade like that, I probably would have removed him from the league. Like, look, I'm not trying to be a dick about it, but at the same time, like, you can't have stuff like that. That guy clearly doesn't know what he's doing, or he's just a hardcore homer. Like, that, those are the only two options. Either way, it's going to cause a lot of cancer in your league, and it's just not healthy.
Yep,
and that's speaking from a dynasty commissioner's perspective, because we are in it for the long term. So, trying to find an active dynasty league to join. Well, my guy, you checked into the right channel. If you go ahead and hit the subscribe button, we are starting another one. I know Tim and I are in 5 together. And our other co-host, William, aka Billy, is he's in a few with us too. We've got a pretty good active crew here. So but yeah, man, if you're interested, subscribe to the channel. Keep your eyes and ears open. Or follow us on Twitter at BSing Sports. It's right down there. I'll probably be posting it there at some point in the off season. After the NFL draft. Tim, you got anything else before we close it out?
Any Thursday night players, don't leave me in flex position.
Yeah, don't bench them if you want to play them. Just move them to their position slot. Get those Thursday night players out of your flex. Trust me, it'll make your lineup decisions a whole lot easier. That's Tim for you. I am Ryan. Like I said, follow us on Twitter at BSing_sports. We are also on YouTube, Twitch, Spotify. Go ahead and give us a listen on Spotify. If you missed the whole episode and needed some information, we gave out some pretty good start-sit information and some expectations for guys. And here at BSing Sports, part of the BSing Network, where we do a little BS and we talk a whole lot of sports. Have a good night.